Hi, folks. This is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report. You know, I've been reading a lot of magazine articles to try to get information that I can spread to you. Also watching some of the TV shows that come on the weekend, fishing shows that I didn't watch for years. I was doing my own show, but I didn't watch them for years. But I've been thinking about all the stuff that I pass on to you. And I will tell you right now, I want you to know that in the world of fishing, maybe in the world of just about everything, there are very few things that are dyed in the wall, set in stone facts. Things change. And so much is about people's perspective. But I've been thinking back to when I was a kid. And I know I've told you this before, but there's reasons I tell you this, because as a kid, fishing became the most important part of my life other than my family. And so how did it become that? And why did it become that? And how does that affect how you folks might be feeling as you listen to the radio? So let me go back and cover a couple of those things. First of all, when I was a kid, my folks allowed me to basically be me and discover the world. And what I'm getting at is I didn't have people telling me, okay, you've got to use a 5-foot rod, you've got to do this, you've got, when you put the lure in the water, you got to make sure it does this, or the bait in the water, or whatever. No, I was discovering it completely by myself. And there's a special magic to that, because I didn't have to do things any other way than what I discovered to do. So fishing became my world. And I think, as I think back on that and how special it was to me, and now fishing is a completely different thing. We've got so many shows and articles and people like me coming on the radio to tell you just how to do it. Maybe you don't want that. Maybe that isn't what would make fishing fun for you, especially if you've never gone fishing before. And I believe if you haven't, or if you want to get your kids into fishing and you feel, well, you should go with them, well, be like a kid too. Be discovering together and not have to do things in any special way. And I think it might make it more, more alive for you. And then I think about my great buddy Rust and his attitude about fishing and how it really is different than me. It's not different in that he still loves it beyond description. It still does things for his body and soul that hardly anything else does. It's his way to keep going, and it's my way. But we do it in a different manner. And I've thought, Rust used to say to me, well, losers change lures. And I used to think, boy, you're not trying to discover new things, or you're not all the facts that are out there that people say you got to have this, you got to do this, you got to use this color, No, that isn't what's fun for Rust. He loves doing things the way he's discovered that they work. And I think this is a great lesson that I could teach. If I was teaching a kid's school right now, and I look back to when we did do this with Cornell Extension, and it was one of the best parts of my whole life, but to do it again, I think I would take it a little bit differently. And I remember when we would get kids out there by the water to fish, and we would tell them, okay, you got to cast out here, and the fish is going to feel like this. That was all fine. But what I really saw that was fascinating is the kids were left to themselves. They would discover other things that seemed to be important to them. A lot of them would just try to dangle the lure or the bait right down by the shore, right by their feet. And I'm thinking, okay, why would they do this? They've been told they got to cast out farther. But no, that wasn't important to them. They wanted to see what was going to happen if the lure was in the water. And they wanted to see if some little fish would come up and nibble at it, just like I did when I was 5 years old off my grandmother's dock. That's what sold fishing to me. And if people can go out and use fishing as a way to discover life and discover happiness and discover more about themselves, then do it in whatever way you want. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report.